34, not 32, not 33. 34 consecutive ATP Masters wins. That is the number sitting next to Jannik Sinner's name right now. And if you have been sleeping on what that actually means for the rest of professional tennis, I need you to stop whatever you are doing and pay very close attention. Here is what bothers me about the conversation happening around this Roman triumph. People keep framing it as a feel good home story. Sinner wins in front of the Tifosi, everybody weeps, beautiful moment, moving on. No. That framing is doing a profound disservice to the most statistically dominant Masters level run in the Open era. Because what Sinner just did against Casper Ruud, a clean surgical 6-4, 6-4, was not a love letter to Rome. It was a clinical execution of a man who has turned the ATP Masters circuit into his personal proving ground. I was looking at the tape from the Ruud match, and the thing that immediately jumps out is Sinner's return positioning in the second set. Ruud has a massive kick serve, pulls tremendous topspin RPM, kicks above shoulder height to a right-hander's backhand, and traditionally that is an uncomfortable delivery for baseline players who prefer a lower contact point. But watch Sinner in the third game of that second set. He is standing nearly half a meter further back than his normal return position, and he is coiling that two-handed backhand return like he has had this exact serve scouted down to the millimeter. Because he has the return winner he hits at 30-40 in that game, flat cross court, kissing the line, that is not a reflex shot, that is homework. That is a man who has studied Ruud's kick serve trajectory so deeply that the response has become automatic muscle memory. Now, here is the bit that actually bothers me about the broader debate. People act as though Casper Ruud is some soft draw, some cupcake opponent you stick in a final to make the champion look good. That is lazy analysis, and I refuse to do it. Ruud is a top 5 clay specialist, a Roland Garros finalist with genuine weapons from the baseline, his heavy topspin forehand, his ability to construct points patiently and redirect pace. And Sinner dismantled him in straight sets on his best surface without dropping a set. That is not fortunate. That is dominance wearing a very polite Italian suit. Before you tell me this is purely a clay court thing, that Sinner has found his groove on his home dirt and we should pump the brakes, let me walk you back through where this streak actually started. Paris Masters, end of 2025. Hard court, indoor, the fastest, most aggressive indoor conditions on the entire tour. Sinner started the run there, and he has not blinked since. He has carried it through hard courts, through clay, through conditions that should theoretically expose different vulnerabilities in different surfaces. He has not been exposed. Not once in 34 matches. He broke Novak Djokovic's consecutive Masters win record in the quarterfinals here in Rome when he got through Andrei Rublev. And I want to dwell on that Rublev match for a moment because it is criminally underanalyzed. Rublev came in swinging. His first serve percentage in that match was elevated. His inside out forehand was working at a level that had dismantled players all week, and he was testing Sinner's movement on the wide forehand. At 4-5 in the first set, there was a baseline exchange, 12 balls, both players at maximum aggression, and Sinner absorbed 3 consecutive heavy forehands from Rublev, reset the point with a slice backhand, and then ended it with a forehand winner hit from so far behind the baseline that it looked physically improbable. That is the moment the record fell. Quietly, efficiently. Like everything Sinner does, I was looking at the tape and noticed something about Sinner's unforced error count across this entire Roman campaign. It is almost insultingly low. While other elite players in the draw were spraying errors under the Roman pressure, his court coverage never looked stretched, never looked reactive. It looked pre-planned, like he was always in the exact position he wanted to be before the ball arrived. That is not athleticism alone. That is IQ manifesting as footwork. Now, here is where the conversation pivots from impressive to genuinely historic. And this is where I think the analysis gets really interesting. Sinner has now joined Djokovic as the only player in ATP history to win all 9 Masters 1000 titles. All 9. Every surface, every city, every crowd. Monte Carlo, Madrid, Miami, Indian Wells, Canadian Open, Cincinnati, Shanghai, Paris, Rome. He has collected them all. Rafael Nadal never did it. Roger Federer never did it. Andy Murray never did it. Only Djokovic had achieved that before, and it took Djokovic the better part of a decade to assemble that collection. If you are a purist, the weight of that sentence should physically hit you. And then there is the money conversation, which I know some people consider crass, but it matters as a metric of career achievement. Sinner is now at 60-45 489 in career prize money. Murray sits in fifth on the all-time list at 64 687 542 $. Alcaraz is in fourth at 64th on 997 598. Sinner is going to overtake both of them, and the wild part is that Carlos Alcaraz will not even be at Roland Garros. Alcaraz is out of the French Open entirely, which means Sinner, if he performs anywhere close to his current level in Paris, does not just climb the prize money table. He potentially extends his ranking gap and moves even closer to Djokovic's all-time record of 16,950 ranking points set in June 2016. Right now, Sinner sits at 14,700. He is 2,740 points clear of Alcaraz in the current rankings. That gap is not a gap, that is a canyon. For context, a full Roland Garros title is worth 2,000 ranking points. Alcaraz would need to win Roland Garros and have Sinner exit in the first round just to close that distance. One of those is impossible this year. The other is essentially fantasy. Here is the bit I genuinely cannot stop thinking about, the mental architecture of this winning streak. 34 matches. That means 34 times Sinner has walked onto a Masters court, faced players who have had weeks to prepare for him specifically, and found a way to win. There is no element of surprise left in his game. Every coach on tour has his shot patterns charted. Every opponent knows his serve placement tendencies, his preference for the cross court backhand under pressure, his use of the drop shot on the ad side when he senses hesitation. They know all of it, and it does not matter. That is an indictment of everybody else's mental and physical preparation, not a flaw in Sinner's game. Now, and this is the insider angle I find genuinely fascinating, there are murmurs in coaching circles around Rome about how Sinner's team, led by Simone Vagnozzi and Darren Cahill, have been quietly adjusting his baseline positioning on clay in long game scenarios. Not dramatically, but by small margins, half a step further inside the baseline on second serves, to attack the court before opponents can establish their preferred rally depth. It is an almost imperceptible shift. But when you watch the Ruud final back on the numbers, Sinner is winning a disproportionate number of second serve return points. That is not coincidence. That is a tactical micro adjustment paying macro dividends. I was looking at the tape and the specific moment in the second set at 4-4, Sinner serving to hold and go into the final game, is the moment that captures everything about him right now. He hits a body serve, Ruud pops it back down the middle, and Sinner calmly rolls an inside out forehand to the open court like he is warming up at practice. No drama, no fist pump. Just the quiet, methodical execution of a man who already knows how the story ends. The question I am asking heading into Roland Garros, and it is the question that nobody seems willing to answer honestly, is whether there is a single player in the draw capable of giving Sinner a genuine 5-set examination. Alcaraz is absent. Djokovic is managing a body that has years on it. Zverev has a history of collapsing in the moments that define careers. Medvedev struggles structurally on clay. Who exactly is the credible threat? I am not being provocative. I am asking in genuine analytical seriousness. Because if Sinner arrives at Roland Garros in this form, this record, this momentum, this tactical clarity, the tournament is not an open competition. It is a coronation with a draw sheet attached. My prediction for the next 3 months is stark, and I am comfortable being held to it. Sinner wins Roland Garros. He does not just win it, he wins it without dropping a set in the final. He crosses the $65 million mark in career earnings, overtakes both Murray and potentially Alcaraz in the prize money standings, and pushes his ranking points towards 16,700, within striking distance of Djokovic's all-time peak. By the time Wimbledon arrives, the conversation around Sinner will not be, is he the best player in the world right now? It will be, is this the most complete tennis brain we have seen since Federer at his peak? The rest of the tour has been warned. Loudly, repeatedly, and with 34 consecutive Masters matches worth of evidence. If they are not listening yet, I genuinely do not know what it is going to take.